Today, people, to start with, we're going to be talking about technology reality. So, I'm going to talk.
Can you introduce yourself, please?
My name is Untitled Chapter.
Sarah Britton.
Jeff Vale.
Chrissy Lee.
Chris.
Alright, so to start with, I'm going to be talking about the global positioning system, GPS. We're all familiar with the term GPS because practically today everybody has it in their cars and everything. So I'm just going to give a brief definition of what GPS is. It's a worldwide radio navigation system formed from constellation of 24 satellites and their ground stations. So, because today, just like I said earlier, most people have this navigation systems in their cars and even on their cell phones. So navigation and positioning is now kind of crucial activities. It's more like a day-to-day activities that we get ourselves involved in. And examples of that is the military operations, which were actually evolved from the year 1973. Because this technology actually it came from the military operations, because they were using it for their own activities. Other things are like the car navigations, the aircraft tracking, mobile tracking, and survey, and so on. So basically, this GPS is it works technically with this term we call triangulation, which is from satellites. And it's a method that is used to determine the relative positions of objects using the geometry of triangles. That is, to triangulate the receiver, you need to measure the distance of the radio and signals. This GPS is actually trying to define every spot that we stand. There's giving it actually a specific definition. Where I stand is a different point from where you stand. It's dividing it by giving it the longitudinal descriptions and everything. So now,
2 minutes.
okay, just to fasten up, it's kind of like a complicated process. It's highly technical now. I'm just going to break it down a little bit, because in order to calculate this GPS descriptions, like our position where we stand, is like the multiplication of the distance and the time travel. The time travel is the signals that is being sent to the satellite, and the satellite itself also has a board clock that sends it back into the GPS receiver. That gives us the time sent and the time received. That's the difference of this multiplied by the speed. And the speed of these radio signals travels at the speed of light. That's about 300 million meters per second to calculate these specific positions. There's a diagram right here to show us the description of how this works. So I'm just going to show you the experience in a little bit further about this technology.
Now, most of you are familiar with the GPS units in your car, maybe a GPS wristwatch, or GPS on your cell phone. However, how many of you really understand the true story behind GPS? GPS is provided by the United States Air Force, specifically Air Force Space Command, to the entire world. Best of all, GPS is provided free of charge. So unlike cellular phones, satellite TV, and electricity, there is no charge for the GPS utility. At the heart of GPS is a constellation of satellites orbiting the Earth at 11,000 nautical miles above the Earth, and a series of ground stations that control and monitor those satellites. In simple terms, the GPS satellites broadcast a radio signal, weaker than that from a light bulb, that takes 0.08 of a second to reach the GPS receiver from space. Signals from 4 satellites are required to determine your position on Earth to within an incredible 1 meter. GPS satellites carry atomic clocks, the accuracy of which is measured in nanoseconds, which is 1/1,000,000th of a second. This incredibly accurate time is broadcast and used in many applications where performing, recording, or synchronizing actions is critical, such as ATM and cellular networks and power grids. While today's GPS serves users from all walks of life, it was originally conceived by and developed for the United States military. We use it and provide it to our allies to navigate in aircraft and Humvees, on ships, and even in space. We also use it to guide precision weapons to their target.
Okay, so then building on GPS, you have geotagging, where you add geographical identification data to media such as photographs, videos, websites, text messages, or RSS feeds. This data usually consists of the longitude and latitude, but then it can also have other data such as altitude, bearing, distance, accuracy, and particular place names. So when you have a picture, it will have this information included. The plus of geotagging is that when you have one of these media, let's say a photograph, you know specifically where this picture was taken from. It's not somewhere in New York City or Berlin or 5 miles off the coast of this location. You have the exact location information put into the file. You have a couple of options when you are geotagging. If you have a camera that has the GPS recorder built in, then as you take the picture, it will tag that information onto the picture. Also, afterwards, you can attach your camera with your computer and use a program such as Flickr or Panorama that will put this information in. Everything has its advantages and disadvantages. Disadvantages to geotagging would be that we have a privacy issue. People will take pictures with their cell phones. The GPS locator is turned on, and they post these pictures to places such as Facebook. Other people don't even know that their cell phones will add this information. And so when you upload it to something like Facebook, then it's telling you where this picture is taken from. And if you add the comment that I'm on vacation, they look at where this picture was taken from, they can surmise that you are not going to be near your house. If you've made previous posts that I got a new TV or something valuable is in your home, then they know where you are not, and what could be stolen from your home.
I'm going to further elaborate on the GPS and talk about geocaching. Geocaching is actually it's basically just a worldwide high-tech game of hide and seek. Only you're hiding items instead of people. To place a geocache, you package it, you bury it or stash it somewhere, and then you pinpoint the location with a GPS and enter it online, and anyone around the world, if they're in the area, they can pinpoint where that geocache is and take a prize, so to speak, from the box. Anyone that has a GPS device can hunt for geocaches. The origin of geocaching actually started out as a GPS stash hunt. It came from a mailing list. And the word geocache actually came from geo, which means for the earth, and cache is actually a French word that was invented in 1797, meaning a hiding place someone would use to temporarily store items. So then born geocaching. It's been in place about 10 years. As I mentioned earlier, the idea of geocaching is, advancing this slide, is to find hidden containers, find the treasure inside, leave something else in there, and then you log it online and share your experiences with other people. To get started geocaching, there's a website called geocache.com, and you can register for your free membership on there. You hide a cache, you enter the coordinates, and then you start searching. I just recently found out that there's a cache hidden out in the lawn of our office building, just off campus. So, some of the things you can do with geocaching, make it a family event. If you want to take a hike or, make it a long drive or whatever, you can involve the whole family in it. If you find the cache and you take something out of it, you are supposed to leave something else in there. And there's things in there like a keychain or a whistle or, little trinkets, a top, whatever. Nothing too valuable. And keep a logbook. These are just a few of the types of caches that are out there. We're just going to kind of skim over that for the sake of time. And I'm not going to play the video on this next screen, but this is just an example of what some of the caches look like and the kind of items that you might find in there.
Okay, I'm going to wrap this all up in talking with how does GPS fit into augmented reality. And this is a screenshot of basically a reality, a view of something with information applied on top of it. I'm going to show a quick video of an application.
This is the new application from Across Air, New York nearest subway, where you can find the nearest subway station for every line via the phone's video function. When you load the application, holding the phone horizontally, icons displaying the line and the station number for the subway come up as directional arrows. Raising the phone will allow you to see all the nearest stations around you, and will find the station nearest to you on the line you want to travel on. It will indicate in miles the distance from your current location and any other lines available at that station. Whether you're a tourist or a local, you'll love this very handy app.
Just using the camera on the iPhone with a connection to the internet, they can apply information with the software that's on the iPhone, giving you direction, distance, and so forth to the different areas that you may be interested in. Now, the next step of that obviously is instead of you walking around with your iPhone like a viewfinder, what can they do to actually put it embedded into your real world environment? Here's another quick clip. I'm gonna stop this one and bring it back. Now this is using technology such as a camera to actually show the video. Notice the screen over here is a flat picture of the environment. And notice what the augmented reality creates it into. Now, with GPS type of devices, you can get the elevations to very accurate levels so that maps now in an augmented reality can actually become more realistic. You can see elevations and so forth. Let's stop that. So the last question is are you ready for the future? Contact screens that you wear instead of walking around with your iPhone. You insert a contact, and the augmented reality is seen through your eye with the reality as a background. Any questions?
So what you see with this put in your eye, you see what?
Well, the concept is that you would see the room like it is right now, but if, like, let's say I had the class roster, if I had a contact in, as I scan the classroom, I could see everybody's name come up, information that might be interested to me.
More information than a name, you can go.
Right, obviously it's whatever information stored, but the idea is that the contact would be wireless, connected to some device, and between the two, I would get that information. Like if I looked out the window, I would see the temperature, the time, and stuff, and the weather, what it's doing.
The image that we saw from the mountains, they are real. If you put your hand on it, you hit something. Or
No, it
just
actually goes through. It's like a hologram.
Other questions? Yes.
The instrument that's in your backpack or whatever that is that control whether when you have the data in your contact versus I just want to see the classroom?
Well, the contact is a concept, obviously, but
Right.
the iPhone it's a particular app. So when you opened it up, it shows you just the subway information. So the idea would be whatever device, that there's another website for the sake of time over in Europe. There are tours that you put on these glasses, you put on this backpack that has a power unit, and as you walk through the city, it gives you historical pictures of the buildings and information as you walk through. So
Yeah, my question was just being able to turn off and on.
yeah, it would be what if you could.
There was some way to manipulate that.
Yes.
Other than, yeah.
Other questions? Other questions? Okay, group photo.